and welcome to another video. I am Stephanie and today I'm going to swatch the 100th Luminance from Caran. Now this is a set that I received because I am working on a coloring book, and so I was sponsored by that brand for that specific coloring book. However, I have been using only Luminance for about 2 years now. This is the selection that I personally bought. As you can see, there are not 100 pencils. I usually don't buy sets. But yeah, it's sometimes difficult to buy colored pencils online, so I thought it would be nice to color swatch those, and this is what I'm going to do today. Now, I printed the pigment information out. You can find it easily on their website. However, it's not written on the pencils, and also I was surprised, but there's no pigment information in that box. That little pamphlet here, yeah, there's no pigment information, which I find, yeah, a bit disconcerting. I'm not sure why they didn't put that inside. I think it's very useful. I will, of course, write down the number. I will tell you the name while I swatch them and tell you all the pigments that are used. I'm also going to tell you how useful it is to have all of these, probably not that much. The other thing I'm going to use is the Lumos pen. Now, I bought that pen myself. It's a rechargeable fine tip pen, which I really quite like. Basically, you dip that into whatever ink you want and you have a felt tip pen that is rechargeable, and it's pretty expensive. I hesitated for about 3 months before getting one. But as I am an ambassador now, if you're interested in that, I am going to leave a link in the description box below. Anyway, without further ado, let's start swatching. The first color is Buff Titanium. And it is a very light color. The number is 801. Pigments are PY151, PR101. Now those two pigments are really good, so I would not be too worried about the light fastness on this one. And I'm guessing it's mixed with white, but I'm not exactly certain. I should also note that I rearranged the colored pencil to my liking according to color, and they were not arranged like that when I received them. So the next one is Primrose, so 242. And the pigments of that one, PY42, which is an ochre, and PY53, which is nickel titanium. It is again a very light color. We are starting with the very light colors. And it's a bit of a yellowish light. Kind of reminds me of sand. I'm also using hot pressed paper. I'm using the brand Clairefontaine, and it's 100% cotton. Next color is Naples Ocher. Yeah, Naples Ocher. And it's the mixture of PY42, PY184 and PBR7, 3 pigments that I would not be worried about. I say that because, as you're going to see, some pigments I would probably trust a little less. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to do my own light fast testing starting now, so you're not going to know about it before a year, I suppose. Those pigments are fine, and it's a bit of a darker valued sand color. Next color is Lemon Yellow, and I already know the pigment of that one. It's PY3. Now, it's the only yellow that is really lemony. I don't really use lemon yellow, but it is a very useful color. I'm always a bit afraid with PY3 because sometimes it's not as light fast. Again, I'm going to do light fast tests. Generally speaking, I think it's a good idea to do light fast tests for certain pigments. PY3 is certainly one of them. The number is 240, and again, as I said, pigment is PY3. In case you don't know, P is for pigment, Y is for yellow, and then you have the number. Now PBR 7 is pigment, brown 7. And yeah, that's all we have for now. Oh no, we have a red pigment, PR 101. So yeah. Next one is 810. And this one is PY 184. It is slightly creamy, a little muted and kind of orange. The next one is cadmium yellow hue, and it is a yellow that I bought myself and that I would absolutely recommend. It is a middle yellow that I find very useful in mixes and on its own. The number is 520 and the pigment is PY 154. Next color is a golden bismuth yellow. The number is 820 and it is a slightly more orange and more whitish yellow, if that makes sense. The pigment is the same as this one, which is PY 184, bismuth yellow and golden bismuth yellow. And as you can see, this one is slightly more orange than this one, although I would not say that there's such a huge difference between those two, and I would still probably just go with this one, which is more of a middle, cleaner yellow. Next is Indian yellow, and it is my favorite pigment in watercolor. It is PY 150, and while I really love it in watercolor, because it goes from lemon yellow to this ochre color, I'm not as sure about it in colored pencil. I mean, I think it's a really nice yellow because it's very close to ochre and that pigment is extremely light fast. But it's not as versatile as the watercolor. But it is beautiful. It is a bit like a vibrant ochre. So the number is 523 and pigment is PY 150. Now the next one is called yellow ochre, but it's not really, it's a mixture. I should also note that I certainly have been very inspired by the swatching from Natasha Newton, as you can see. Although I have been painting, so she calls them pebbles, but for me it's more cellular, well, cells basically. I do color mixing using these cells, or pebbles as she calls them. So yeah, I wanted to say that because I'm sure you've seen Natasha Newton's swatches, and yeah, they're very enjoyable. So the number of this one is 034 and it has two pigments, PY 42, so that is your usual ochre, and PY3, and that is lemon yellow. I apologize, I swatched this one as it was out of focus. So this one is 036, it is raw sienna, and it is an actual ochre, it is PY 42. And again, this one is called ochre, but it is a mixture of PY 42, so this one, and PY3 lemon yellow, which is this one. Next one is brown ochre. And you might hear it, but they don't have the same feel when you use them. Some are slightly scratchier and some are creamier, and I suspect that's because of the pigments used. This one is scratchier than others. So this one is 037, so brown ochre, and it is a mixture of PY42, this one, PR101, which is a red earth pigment, and a black pigment, PBK9. The next one is brown ochre 50%. So you know that's usually what they do a lot in colored pencils. They have the same name and then I'm guessing it's 50% of those pigments mixed with a filler of white or maybe white. I'm not exactly sure. It's a tint, if you will. You have the name, in this case brown ochre, so this is full and this is 50%. And you have the same pigment information for this one as well. So PY42, PR101 and PBK9. So the pigments are the same, so I'm just going to put it like this. And the number is 836 and it is again brown ochre 50%. And we continue with the brown ochre. This time it is a 10%. So the number is 832 and the pigments again, though not in the same order, it's PR101. Oh, I made a mistake. It's PY42. I apologize, I didn't see the mistake. But yeah, those three, so brown ochre 50%, brown ochre 10%, and the pigment always the same, PY42, PR101, PBK9. Next one is butternut, and it is an orange pigment, probably mixed with filler or white. Again, I'm not exactly sure how they get their lighter shades. Now, in paint you always put in white, but these are colored pencils, so maybe it's not a white pigment, but just some kind of clay or some kind of filler. I quite like that color, to be honest. So butternut is number 542 and the pigment is PO82. So the next color is simply called orange. And it is PO62. Now most orange pigments are a little bit tricky on the lightfastness. They do state it's lightfastness 1. I mean, I should say that all of their ratings are either 1 or 2 as lightfastness, which is very good. But again, I do want to make my own tests because, yeah, it's just a good idea to make your own lightfastness test. It is a beautiful, very vibrant orange. Really like it. I actually bought it. So the number of this one is 030 and the pigment is PO62. The next one is apricot. And it is a creamy orange. Honestly, for me, it's more peachy than apricot. I know apricot is used for this color, but when I see it, I just think of peach somehow. Apricots, for me, look more like this to the reddish. Maybe we don't have the same apricots in France, I don't know, but they are pretty vibrant in color. And this is what I think of as peach, even though it's not peach colored. I don't know. It's a creamy orange, kind of whitish. So it's 041 and the pigment is PO61. Next one is cornelian and I love this one. It's the same pigment than the one previously, only it's purer. Again, I'm guessing they added some kind of filler, so it's the same pigment as this one, but in its pure form maybe, or maybe it's like slightly different. Sometimes pigments have the same name, but they are more or less vibrant depending on how they're made. Many pigments are chemically made nowadays. In any case, I really like this orange. And if I had to pick between the two, I would go with this one because you can get this by just mixing white. And I find this one more useful as a color. I actually bought this one, I really like it, Cornelian. It's almost red. It's a very dark valued orange. The number of this one is 850 and it's the same pigment, PO61. Last orange is almost neon, or it looks neon. It's a cadmium orange imitation. And I have to say, it does look a lot like a cadmium, because it's so vibrant. And again, it's almost red. I find that color also to be very useful. The number of this one is 533 and the pigment is PO43. We're going back to more muted tones and the next color is called Terracotta. And it's actually the favorite color of one of my closest friends. And I think they made a great job on it. It really looks like terracotta. Terracotta is 044 and it's made of PR101 and PO82. The next color is Burnt Ocher. Burnt Ocher is number 077 and it's made of PY42 and PR101. Now the next one is Pink White and it is very, very light. Now this I feel like could substitute a white if you don't like to use white. It is a really nice pinkish white. The number of this one is 581 and the pigment used are PY151, which is a yellow pigment, and PR101. Next one is Herculanum Red and I really like this one. It is a very muted pink. So Herculanum Red is 068 and the pigment used is PR101. Next one is Burnt Ocher 10%. Number is 872. Burnt Ocher 10% and it's made of PR101 and PY42. Two pigments that have been used a lot in those colors so far. Next color is Burnt Ocher, but this time 50%. Same pigments, but more pigments. Less filler, more pigments basically, or less whites. Again, I'm not sure if they use white or filler. So Burnt Ocher 50%, 876, PR101, PY42. Next one is Warm Earth 5%. So Warm Earth 5%, 741. Pigments are PY42, PR101 and PBK6. Next one is Warm Earth, 40%. Warm Earth 40% is 745, and we have a lot of pigments in this one, so PR101, PO82, PY42, PBK7, PBR7, PBK11. Next color is Castle Earth. This one is quite scratchy, which honestly I like, and it is a very dark valued brown. It's slightly more crumbly than the others. Castle Earth number 046. It is made of PR101, PBR7 and 2 blacks, PBK6 and PBK11. It's a color I've been wanting to have for the longest time, but it seems to be always out of stock. Next color is Sepia, and this is a color I use a lot. As you can see, this is the pen that I bought open stock. It's a very dark brown as well. It's less scratchy than the Castle Earth. I think it's nicer, honestly. It's maybe slightly more black, and I use it a lot in the shadows. Usually I will blend it over other colors to create warm shadows. I think, honestly, between Sepia and Castle Earth, I prefer Sepia. Sepia 407. It is made of PR101, PBR7 and 2 blacks, PBK6 and PBK11. So the same composition as Castle Earth. Next color is Sepia 50%. So Sepia 50% number is 906, and the pigment are the same as here and here. So I'm also going to do it like this, so we know it's the same pigments. I personally find it more useful like that. Next brown is Warm Earth, 70%. And it is a slightly more reddish brown, reddish dark brown. Warm Earth 70%, number 748. Lots of pigments in there. PR179, that's Perylene Maroon. PY42, that's Ocher. PR101, PBR7, and then 2 blacks. PBK7 and PBK11. Next color is Carmine Lake. This is a very reddish brown, more so even than the Warm Earth. Carmine Lake 575. It's made up of 2 pigments, PR179, which is Perylene Maroon, and a black, PBK7. Next color is Burnt Sienna, 50%. Burnt sienna 50%, the number is 866, and it is made out of PR101 and PBK 6. Next color is burnt sienna. Burnt sienna 069, it's the same pigments, PR101 and PBK 6. Next color is a natural russet. Natural russet is 066 and it is made of one single pigment, PR101. And just for you to understand how much this color is important, it is in a lot of these colors actually. It's in this one, this, here as well, here, all of these. As you can see, half of these colors are made partially using this color, PR101. So this definitely is one color that you want to buy, simply because with this color and maybe some white, you're going to be able to blend a lot of these colors by yourself. This here, and also raw sienna, PY42. So with only those two and some white, you will be able to blend a lot of these colors, and yeah, just buy 3 pencils instead of all of them. And as you will progress and use more and more colors, maybe it will make sense to buy those convenience colors, because I know as an artist I do use convenience colors and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're starting out, it's going to be very expensive to get all of them when you can make these colors with just a few. But back to swatching. Apologies, I forgot to push on play. So this next color is russet. Russet, not natural russet, just russet. And it is made out of 3 pigments. It is a very nice dark red. So the number is 065 and it is made out of PR101, so this one, PY42, the Ocher raw sienna one, and PR188, a red pigment that I don't really know of. Last in this line, but certainly not least to me, is Perylene Maroon. It is a color that I love in all media, including colored pencils. It's such a useful color in watercolor, oils, acrylic, because you easily can mute down a lot of colors and make more interesting mixes. And it's also a very deep dark red tone. I would definitely recommend this color. I don't think you can go wrong with Perylene Maroon. Perylene Maroon, number 585, made out of PR179. They call it Perylene Brown. So this one is Scarlet Red. It is a very vibrant red. Fire engine, fire truck. I don't remember how you say it in English. But yeah, very red. I would say it's quite a neutral red. It's neither yellow leaning, neither blue leaning, it's really red. So Scarlet is 070, made out of PR254, so the Pyrrole family. Scarlet. My mom, by the way, is named Scarlet, but we spell it with 2 T's. Next one is Permanent Red. Permanent Red is a more yellowish red. It kind of reminds me a bit of a cadmium red. Permanent red is 061, made out of PR242. Next one is alizarin crimson hue. Alizarin crimson is 589. It is made out of PR178 and PV19. Next one is anthraquinone carmine. Which is a deep cool red. Anthraquinone carmine 580 is the pigment PR177. Next color is anthraquinone pink. Which is a lovely salmon pink. Anthraquinone pink 571 is made out of PR168. Next color is Crimson Aubergine. Crimson Aubergine 599, made out of 3 pigments, PR179, that's Perylene Maroon, PV19, which is quinacridone violet, I would assume for this one, and PB15, which is phthalo blue. Next color is one of my absolutely favorite pigments. They call it purplish red. And this one is actually a mixture of Perylene Maroon, PR179, and PR122, quinacridone magenta. And I would say this is a must-have color, because it is the closest magenta you have from the whole set. It is very dark valued, so if you mix it or blend it with white or pastel colors, you're going to have a whole range of colors. Purplish red is 350, made out of PR122, quinacridone magenta, and PR179, which is Perylene Maroon. And they call it purplish red. Next one is burnt sienna, 10%. This is a sort of grayish pink. I wouldn't really know how to describe it, to be honest. Burnt sienna 10%, 862, PR101, PBK6. Next one is violent pink, and this one has a lot of pigments in it, so I'm sure to have enough space to write them all down. Violet pink 583. It is made out of 7 pigments, PR101, PR168, PO82, PR122, PY42, PBR7, and 2 blacks, PBK7 and PBK11. Next color is hibiscus pink. another muted pink that is a little bit more bluish. I actually find this one more violet than the violet pink. Hibiscus Pink 094, made of PR179, PV19 and PB15. Next one is one of my favorites, Ultramarine Pink. It's PR259 and it's a pigment that I have in watercolor and I really like it for mixing. It's a very light pink but still quite vibrant and violet leaning. I find that this colored pencil is especially beautiful. It also reminds you a little of the color called Wisteria. I just recently learned what Wisteria was, what plant it was. It's glycine in French and I had no idea. And it made me really happy to know what plant it was. Because sometimes you know these names, these color names and paint names, but you don't really know where they come from, and Wisteria was one of them. But now I know, and that, yeah, makes me really happy. 083 PR259 Ultramarine Pink. I apologize I didn't record, so this one is Manganese Violet, a very beautiful light violet. Its number is 112 and it's made out of PV16. Manganese Violet is a pigment I like and use in watercolor. It's a granulating pigment in watercolor, and here it is especially beautiful with a very light lilac tone. Next purple is another favorite of mine. It's Quinacridone Purple, PV55, which I also have in watercolors. Like most quinacridone pigments, it's very vibrant and is great for florals. I really love this color. Quinacridone Purple 115, made out of PV55. Next one is simply called Violet, and it's actually Dioxazine Violet, PV23. Well, if you're into very vibrant colors, I'm sure you know of this pigment. It's not a pigment that I usually use in any other medium, simply because I find it's quite easy to mix my own purples. And also because PV23 can have a bit of lightfastness issues sometimes in some brands. And yeah, it's a very beautiful pigment, but I don't really care so much for it. I have it in colored pencils, and I used it a lot in colored pencils. I feel like in colored pencils, blending and mixing colors is a bit more complicated than with paints, obviously. It's still easy to do and I do it all the time, but to have a few convenient colors is a lot nicer. And I also find that this violet in particular is quite beautiful. It's very deep and vibrant. Violet 120, PV23. Next one is called Violet Brown, and it is for those of you who like more muted violets. Brown Violet 129. It's made out of 4 pigments, PR101, PV23, PY42 and PBK9. So a red, violet, yellow and black pigment. Last purple is a light aubergine, another very muted violet. Light aubergine is 095, made out of 3 pigments, PR101, PV23, PBK6 Next color is Ultramarine Violet, another pigment that I use in watercolor, PV15. It is a naturally rather weak tinting pigment, and I find it especially beautiful as a colored pencil. Great for highlights. Ultramarine Violet 630, PV15. And now we're going into the blues with Indanthrone Blue, another one of my favorite pigments. It is a very deep, dark, valued blue. It is so dark it works as a shadow as well. Indanthrone Blue 649, it is pigment PB60. Next color is Prussian Blue. It is a color that many people like, but it's a bit weird in terms of light fastness, at least in watercolors. It can fade in the sunlight and then come back somehow. I have made light fast testings on the only one I had, or I used to have. I personally never saw it faded, but I'm just very unsure about this pigment, so I'd rather not use it in my palette. Same goes for this colored pencil. I'm going to do light fastness test, but just to be on the safe side, I'm probably not going to use it in artworks that I sell and use it in my sketchbook instead. Prussian Blue 159, PB27. The next one is Bleu de Nîmes, a dark blue, slightly violety. Bleu de Nîmes 135, and it is made out of two pigments, a phthalo blue PB15-3 and a dioxazine violet PV23. Bleu means blue and Nîmes is a town in France. Next is an absolute classic and one that I can only recommend, Ultramarine Blue. If you're going to get a limited set of colors, I would highly suggest to take this one. Ultramarine Blue 140, made out of PB29. Next one is Cobalt Blue Imitation, and it is a mixture of phthalo blue and ultramarine blue. Cobalt Blue Who is 660, and it's made out of PB15, phthalo blue and PB29 ultramarine blue. The next blue is something that I would suggest to get as well if you want a vibrance set, and it is phthalo blue. Phthalo blue is 162, PB15-3. Basically my three must-have blues in every palette I have are phthalo blue, ultramarine blue and Indanthrone Blue. Next in line is light blue. Light blue is 161. And it is made out of phthalo blue PB15-3 and a black pigment PBK9. Next is turquoise blue. Turquoise blue 171. It is made out of phthalo blue PB15-3, phthalo green PG7 and PBK9. Next one is phthalo turquoise, and they call it ice blue. It's PB16. Ice blue is 185, made out of phthalo turquoise PB16. The next color is called grey blue. Grey blue 755 is made out of 3 pigments, a phthalo blue PB15, a Prussian blue PB27, and a black pigment PBK6. Next blue is cobalt blue genuine. It is a very light valued cobalt blue. Typical sky color. Genuine cobalt blue is 662 and it is made out of cobalt blue, which is PB28. The next blue is also cobalt blue, however it is light, so just less pigmented. Also a lovely shade of blue. Cobalt blue light is 661, made out of PB28. Now we're entering grays, and these are blue grays, so this one is silver gray. Silver gray 002 is made out of phthalo blue PB15 and PBK6. Next one is steel gray. Steel gray is 004 and it's the same pigments as silver gray. PB15 and PBK6. Next one is Paints Gray 30%. Paints Gray 30% is 504 and is a mixture of PB29 and PBK6. So ultramarine blue and a black. The next one is slate gray. Slate gray 495. It's made out of graphite. Next gray is Paints Gray 60%. Paints Gray is 507, so the 60%, and it is made out of PB29 and PBK6. And this one is just Paints Gray. Also made out of the same pigments, PB29 and PBK6, so ultramarine blue and a black. Paints Gray is 508 and again made out of the same pigments, PB29 and PBK6. It's the same up there as well, which is the 30%. The next color is dark indigo. It is a very dark blue, almost black. Dark indigo is 639. It is made out of Indanthrone blue PB60 and PR254. And now black. And this one I use a lot. As you can see, this is what I've got left, and it's actually my second one. I made a big colored pencil drawing. It's on my YouTube channel, so I'm going to link it. Maybe I can show you a quick thumbnail of it. In any case, I do like black backgrounds, and so I use black quite a lot. Now that being said, if you look at the black next to the dark indigo, the black is more neutral. It's kind of dead, if that makes sense. However, the dark indigo is almost black, and I think when you see it, you think of it as black, but it is nicer looking, I have to admit. I really quite like it. I would still say that black is one of the most useful colors to have, and I would highly recommend it just because you can darken a lot of things with it and mix new colors. Black is 009 made out of PBK6. Next color is Raw Umber 10%. And I see it as a very light, warm gray. Raw Umber 10% is 842 and it is made out of PR101, PY42 and PBK11. Next weird gray is Sepia 10%. So I basically bunched the grays together because I find it more useful to have them all next to each other in the box. And this is a reddish gray. As I said in the introduction of the video, I did reorganize the pencils more after color, but when you receive the box, it's actually more after value, which is probably more useful in a way. I suppose it kind of depends how you work. I don't think any artist likes the out-of-the-box color organization. I think we all need to just put them all out and reorganize them the way we work. So yeah, never hesitate to reorganize your colored pencils or colored sets or whatnot. Because I feel like everyone is quite different when it comes to colors and how they use it. So this is Sepia 10%. The number is 902. It is made out of 4 pigments, PR101, PBR7 and 2 blacks, PBK6 and PBK11. Next weird gray is violet gray. And well, as the name states it is a violet-y gray, and I know there are quite a lot of pigments in there, so I'm just going to make a little bit more space on top. Violet gray is 093. It is made out of PR101, PY42, PV23, so red iron oxide, yellow ochre, dioxazine violet, and 2 blacks, PBK6 and PBK11. Next gray is French gray, gris français, 10%. And so this one is also a bit of a warmer gray. French gray is 802, so it's the 10% version. It is made out of PY42, PR101 and PBK6. Next one is French gray, but this time 30%. It's the same pigments, So this one is 803 French Grey 30%. And it's the same pigments as the 10%, so PY42, PR101 and PBK6. And lastly in this line we have French Grey. Not a percentage. Again the same pigments. Less filler, so darker. So this one is 808 French Grey. Next is Raw Umber 50%. Okay, Raw Umber 50% is 846 and the pigments used PR101, PY42 and PBK11. Next color is Raw Umber. Raw Umber is 548 and it's the same pigments than the Raw Umber 50%, which are PR101, PY42 and PBK11. Next is Olive Brown. Olive Brown is 039 and it's made of two pigments, PY42, which is yellow ochre, and the black, PBK9. Next is Olive Brown 10%. Olive Brown 10% is 732 and it's the same pigments than Olive Brown, which are PY42 and PBK9. And we have another Olive Brown, this time it is 50%. Olive Brown 50% is 736 and again same pigments, PY42 and PBK9. And the next color is Green Ochre. Green Ochre is 025. It is made out of 5 pigments, PY3, PY42, PY13, I've never heard of that pigment, PO62 and the black, PBK6. And now onto the greens. This one is olive yellow. It's quite a nice green. Slightly muted. I can picture this one for meadows. Olive yellow is 015 and is made out of PBK6, black, and lemon yellow, PY3. The next color is called Spring Green and it is an almost neon looking green. Spring Green 470, unsurprisingly made of lemon yellow PY3 and phthalo green PG7. Next is moss green. I have to say I'm not super impressed by their green selection. They have a lot of greys and ochres and browns, and maybe there's a high demand for the greys and ochres, etc. for portraits, but I find that they are lacking in the green department. It's not a huge problem because, again, you can mix your own shades using colored pencils. It's not that difficult. But still, you would expect a bit more variety in the greens, and I certainly am very underwhelmed by what they offer. So moss green is 225, and it is a mixture of 3 pigments: a lemon yellow, PY3, Indian throne blue, PB60, and a black, PBK6. Next is chromium oxide green. And I would say that is a bit of a must-have green, especially if you're doing plants or botanicals or landscapes. It is a very useful green to have. It's muted, extremely light fast, and you can blend it with other colors to make different shades. Chromium oxide green is 212 and the pigment is PG17. Next is grass green, and it is another very vibrant green. Grass green is 220 and it is made out of 3 pigments: PY1, which is terrible, PY3 and PG7. I kid you not, PY1 is not considered a light fast pigment. Now there's PY3 in it and PG7, so that's why I suppose they rated it light fast 1. I haven't tested it myself, but yeah, PY3, it is not a pigment I would ever buy in any medium. Now next color is cobalt green, PG50. It's actually quite a nice color. Cobalt green 182 and it is PG50. Next color is Middle Verdigris. It's quite a nice one. I actually really like this one, and I've used it in plants for highlights, really, because it's very light. Middle Verdigris is 713 and it's a mixture of PG17, chromium oxide green, and PB28, which is cobalt blue. Next color is dark English green. Nice color for shadows, although you might want to mute it a little. This one is 729 and is a mixture between phthalo green, PG7, and a black, PBK9. The next one is dark phthalo green. And this is a very nice dark valued green. However, it uses one pigment that I don't usually trust, so I will need to do light fast tests first to see how well or not it does over time. It's called dark phthalo green. It's 719. It is made out of PY74, which this is the problematic pigment, PY3, PBK7, and PB15. Next is dark sap green, and it is a beautiful, and this time for sure light fast, dark valued green, which I really like, and I have used it. As you can see, it's sharpened, not like the others. So I would recommend this one over this one, just to be safe. Again, I have not done any light fastness tests, and usually if you use your colored pencils or any colors really in full mass, it's much more light fast, and PY74 is light fast if used in full mass, but when it's diluted, at least in watercolors, it's not very light fast. So I tend to avoid it, especially since there are so many other yellow pigments that I just don't see the point of using this one. And I would like that people would stop using it to make colors, but yeah, whatever. So dark sap green 739 is made out of PG7 phthalo green and a black PBK6. I would have liked an actual sap green in their selection, but sadly nothing to see there. Next is malachite. It's a beautiful color. To me it looks like a very dark turquoise, and I find it interesting to blend with yellows or ochres for greens. So malachite green is 180 and it is made out of PG7 phthalo green and PBK9. Next is beryl green, and that's actually a phthalo green. Beryl green is 214, it's phthalo green PG7. Next is a light malachite green. And it's basically a mint color. Light malachite green is 181 and it is made with PG7 and PBK9. And the last color is chrysocolla blue. Chrysocolla blue is 671 and is made of a cobalt pigment PB28. So here are all the colors together with the names, the number of the brand, and I would really suggest to write down the number if you're interested in a color, because they do change their names and have actually between the one on the website and the one that I got. And pigment information, which I find really important. I should add a note that it's really worth it to learn more about pigments, because you're just going to better understand colors, better understand color mixes, and when you have those shots you can see, oh, this is phthalo blue and it's in here, it's in here, it's in here, it's there, and then you better understand how to color mix. Same with the PR101, the red oxide iron pigment, which is in so many colors of the mixes here, and the browns as well. Yeah, and black as well. Often in art, one will tell you should not use black. If you look at those convenient colors, there's black in many of these colors. Black and white, actually. So it's not something that you should not use, it's more about how to use it properly. I'm going to zoom in so you can see all the colors better. Now, do you need the full set? Probably not, let's be honest, there are a lot of similar colors. If I had not received the set, I would not have bought it. I prefer to buy open stock because then I can pick and choose my favorites. Okay, and that's it. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this and you found it useful. I certainly find swatching videos very useful, especially if you've got the whole brand. For once, I have the whole brand, so that's why I wanted to share it with you. As you can see, many colors here are quite similar, so I would suggest to check pigments, learn more about pigments, maybe use this video if you're really lost. And then, you know, pick your favorites among those that are very similar, or among the browns that are very similar, and so on. You don't need that many colors. I feel like a good 10 in colored pencils is probably going to be a good start. If you watched until the end, thank you so much. Leave a rainbow emoji in the comments so I know that you watched it. I know it's been a very long and unusual for me video. I never do swatching videos. But yeah, I still hope you enjoyed it, and that's about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in my next video. Bye!